Welcome, everyone. I am Chris Gore. This is Hollywood on the Rocks on a Wednesday. I hope you're doing great today. Coming up on the show today, we're going to talk about Ferrari. That's right. The movie is coming to theaters. We have an early review. I'll be telling you all about it. Plus, the Wish Disney animation debacle continues. We've got updates for that. Plus, we're going to be reacting to a bunch of different trailers, which is going to be very fun. Some trailers and movies you've probably not even heard about. What the hell is bad CG Gator? Well, we're going to find out together. In addition, we'll be talking about the new documentary on Amazon Prime called Bye Bye Barry, about Barry Sanders and his incredible career. And I don't know, maybe we'll talk about Poor Things. I haven't checked. Has Alan seen the movie yet? I've now seen it twice, and I am dying to talk to someone about it. And the filmmakers behind a documentary called The Wild Parrots of Telegraph Hill will be joining us at the very end of the show. And your chat, comments, and questions. So much to discuss. And we are Ms. P Coffee free today, so please be patient with us. No one is helping us actually do a show. It's literally like Alan and I. It's like I brought over popcorn and we're watching a movie together, unsupervised, no parents. It's going to get wild. Let's start the show. Let's get things going. And I can't wait to chat with you because there's so much going on. Let's go. Okay. There's a video here that says, Chris, do not watch.
We now consecrate the bond of obedience. Assume the position.
Thank you, sir. May I have another? Thank you, sir. May I have another? Thank you, sir. May I have another?
I think the best part of that was Alan's face.
Just when you thought all hope was lost, the whole world had gone woke. Then along came a new breed of hero, the Spanish Fly, the Irish Beacon, Dark Puma, England the Merciless, Captain Mercer, and together they form the non-woke Avengers.
Okay, I have to watch
That's
these
pretty
videos before we show them on the show. It literally,
You got
like,
the first one, right? You understood what was going on there.
I understood what was going on there. I think you were very excited to see me get spanked. That's what
Yeah.
that's what I observed.
I'm just saying, you were joining the Linktree cult there.
Is that the Linktree cult? Is that what that is?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Your obsession with Linktree.
Because you don't have a Linktree and I have to Google stuff about you. I just conveniently put it on a Linktree for me.
Yes. But all my haters then would have a single location for getting all of it.
Oh my God, you are on fire on Twitter lately. I don't know what happened to you, if you were bitten by a radioactive Elon Musk, but you are like Alan is out of control.
Yeah. Well, I mean, ever since Rotten Tomatoes published that excerpt from my review, it's like, well, cat's out of the bag now. Why hold back? And it's been fun and time consuming and obsessive, and I've got so much work to do and I'm so far behind.
See, that's my whole thing, is that, like, I post and ghost. I just sort of drop it and I'll reply to people who are, kind and nice. But like, I don't know, man, social media, it's such a time suck. And I probably look at it more than I engage. That's just me. All right, let's see.
Hey, I've got to say, since the Rotten Tomatoes thing, I've gained 1,200 followers on Twitter. So thank you all. My pal Al, thanks for following, and I appreciate it. Your presence is greatly appreciated.
But you probably lost 10.
Yeah, I know.
But Movie Bob still follows you, so that's a good
Yeah.
thing.
I love movies.
Well, I'm excited tonight, actually, because I am seeing Godzilla -1 tonight. We'll have our full review on Friday. That's going to be exciting. I am so pumped for this Godzilla movie. Seeing it in IMAX. It's a special fan screening event. So I'm going tonight, and I
It's
cannot
weird.
wait.
In Orange County, there's only 3 locations that's playing at, and one happens to be the theater down the street from my house.
Well, then, you've already
I'm
seen
going.
it.
I'm going.
Oh, you're going. Oh, that's great. That's great. That's awesome. All right, let's see who's in the chat as we get started. Hey, do we already have some super chats here? Is there member chats? We already got super chats, but they're not starred.
They should be.
No, because see, it auto stars super chats. So what you did is probably went to star them, and then it.
No, I didn't
unstarred.
even touch them.
Oh, it's okay, man.
They're there. I mean, I see them. They're stars.
It's all good. It's all good. Dr. Gonzo is here. Our good friend, Dr. Gonzo. Let's get these guys to 100,000. I got to go play some drums, so I will catch the rerun. Peace. Dr. Gonzo, thank you for that. We appreciate you. Such a kind man who's giving me comic books. And he sent me home with gifts for you, Alan.
I know.
You could be the next Daredevil of Orange County.
I know. I'm well protected right now.
Thank you, Dr. Gonzo. Enjoy the drums. Enjoy the replay. Lord Thoth says, hi, everyone. Wes Ray is here, says, live in 69 minutes. You probably posted that 75 minutes ago. But thank you for that, Wes Ray. We appreciate you. Wes, well, I don't know if I should say about Wes. We'll just say. Gore is handsome. Damn, says Latino Slant. Spanish Fly, baby. That's Latino. Yes. Paulie will be joining us. I'm going to share screen here just for a minute. I want to let everyone know. I know I've talked about it. We are at LA Comicon this weekend. We're doing 3 panels on Saturday, December 2nd, The Death of the Modern Franchise. Also on the same day, Indie Filmmakers Survival Guide. Jim Agnew, who's been a guest of the show, will also be on that panel, along with other filmmakers. And on Sunday, December 3rd, why 99% of movies today are garbage. Appearing on these panels, everyone from, well, one, Paulie from Latino Slant. I'll be on the panel. Alan Ng the Merciless. Gary from Nerdrotic is on 2 of those panels, in addition to Dante James, Verbal Riot Show, Anna, that Star Wars girl, Danica, Comic Book Girl 19. It is literally the Avengers Assemble of panels, and I believe Carl Lynn is going to be joining us as well. So, am I right about that? I don't know.
I don't know if she's on the panel. I would assume so.
I think she. Anyways,
I'm still on the 2 panels, right?
I talked to Alan earlier today. We just had a little chat on the phone, and he's like, "Well, I'll see you later today." And I'm like, "What are you talking about? Are you like Are you up in Pasadena, my neck of the woods?" No, we're doing the show. I forgot. I'm so spread between like we're prepping for award this and all the other things that Alan and I are doing that I completely forgot. Hey, yeah. Sean Z for 999 says, seeing mixed reviews for Ferrari, but say Adam Driver has a strong performance. Reading some critics find the film to be a bit muddled. The portrayal of racing scenes and drivers acting is praised. Agree? I'll let you know in about 30 minutes because we've got other stuff to go through before we get to the review. But I will let you know, Sean Z, stick around. And if you can't stick around, we always do clips from the show. So yeah, so this is your reminder to come to LA Comicon. Also, I'm going to announce right here, right now, we are doing an impromptu pre-LA Comicon meetup. I'm going to tell you the details. It's at the 35er bar. I'm going to bring up the website. I am going to bring up the website. You can go to 35erbar.com. Go to 35er bar. We're going to be there Thursday. Myself, X-Ray Girl, Gary from Nerdrotic. I don't know if Alan's going. Alan,
I'll be there. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm hanging out with you guys all Thursday. So
Okay, so it's Thursday night, 35er bar. We'll get there about 8 p.m. So if you are in Pasadena, look up the 35er bar. It's mostly it's a sports bar for the most part. But I am a regular there. I'm a regular. Here we go. So they got the NFL games. They got, you know what? They've got really good wings. But do me a favor, don't order the wings because there won't be enough for me then. I want to order the wings before you get there. But the 35er bar is my local hang in Pasadena. Thursday night, 8 p.m. I'm just dropping this info. I'm not doing a flyer. I might announce on social tomorrow at the last minute. But join us there Thursday. We're going to celebrate before Comicon. I'm also going to be on FNT on Friday. We're doing our normal Film Threat live stream on Friday. I'll be on FNT, and then I'll see you at LA Comic-Con. But we can hang out tomorrow at 35er bar if you want. Join us there. All right. And then one last thing before we get to the actual show. I just want to say, Alan, season screenings.
Season screenings.
That's our little graphic.
I know.
That's
2 more weeks and I'll put the sweater on.
Yeah. I've got the sweater. I'll wear it.
Yeah.
Make sure you pick up your tickets for Award This. You can go to awardthis.com. That is our annual indie film award show. You can get tickets. Go to awardthis.com, click on the link to get tickets. And there is an offer code. I'm going to throw up the banner. It's real simple. You just go to that and go to, where is it? Where's the banner for that? Yeah, here it is. Join us on Sundays, December 10th, 8 p.m. at the Frida Cinema. Use discount code FilmThreat20 to get 20% off tickets. There are a limited number of VIP tickets still available, but you can get tickets as low as $20. You can save an extra $4. Save it for a drink that you'll pick up that night. But we've got a liquor sponsor, gift bags. It's going to be a wild fun time. So
can you believe it's only 10 days away?
Yeah, I haven't. I was telling Alan today, like, I haven't started writing the script for the show because I've been so busy.
I know.
But it's at the Frida Cinema in Santa Ana. So join us there. I have to do these reminders. I get them out of the way at the top of the show.
Yeah.
I get them out of the way.
Yeah, and if you go to filmthreat.com, you'll see we've been posting the reviews of all the nominees.
Yes, I really appreciate it because then it reminds me.
Day.
Yeah, it just reminds me. Yeah, and then also shop.filmthreat. Go there and use offer code FilmThreat-HO to save 10% on anything from the Film Threat shop. I am wearing this shirt today. This is our. It may in fact be inspired by Star Trek. Anybody kind of recognize the font on this logo? So there you go. There's 50 different designs to choose from in the Film Threat shop. So check that out. And you kind of like customize your own thing. So there you go. All right. Time to get into it. There's too much to talk about today. Too much to talk about, Alan. Too much to discuss.
I know. Just what you sent me yesterday.
I sent you this huge list. I'm like,
Oh.
I think we're going to try to talk about all this stuff. But let's start out with something fun. Okay. I love Full Moon Entertainment. Okay. Not going to lie. Love Full Moon Entertainment. It's super fun. They've got like, they're just the kind of like, they're like the company that will basically they'll make a movie like in a weekend. All right. So, wait, I'm probably gonna have to mute myself when we watch this.
Yeah.
They came out with a movie that I feel like completely just tells you what's on brand for them. We're gonna watch the trailer for Bad CG Gator. Now, I know for a fact that Alan hasn't seen this. This is what I mean when I say, look, anyone can make an independent film. Now, when it comes to independent filmmakers out there, you might be inspired by some of the greatest movies ever. But it's important for you to watch awful films. Why? Because one, this movie, just by the title, is already admitting it's bad. And number two, it shows you that like truly anyone can make a film. So why not you? Why not you? They just said, you know what? We know the CG is bad. we're just gonna make that the title of the movie. So, Alan, are you ready to watch this trailer?
Let me just add to that. One great quality of a up and coming filmmaker is self-awareness.
Yes.
You know,
Yes. So we're gonna watch.
You're not Shakespeare. You're not Steven Spielberg.
Well, for sure. But we're gonna watch this trailer. I'm gonna mute myself because I feel like there might be some issue with the sound. Let me know. But here we go. It's a short trailer.
That was it. Are you still muted?
That's it. Okay.
That was it.
Now, first of all, I'm definitely going to check that movie out.
Yeah.
I'm going to check out that movie. But wow. This is the thing. Here, John Waters said something very inspiring that I've never forgotten. I learned this quote from him decades ago, and I'll never forget it. John Waters said, if you try to make a bad movie, you can't fail. So why don't you do that? They came up with like bad CG Gator. There's even, I think I have like a graphic about this film somewhere around here. It's, where is it? Here it is. It's just, and also I regularly like subscribe to other streaming services that are not, you know, your Netflix, whatever. If there's a movie I want to see, I'll subscribe to it. So Full Moon Entertainment, I think it's like $5 a month. Excuse me. Oh my God.
Well, it's $60 a year.
Well, what you do is if you spend the $60, they'll send you a box set of the Blu-rays of puppet. You can choose from different things that are basically worth, it's like you're buying something that's worth what you're paying for, but then you get the streaming service for free. So I have done that in the past. And Full Moon Entertainment, I just love those. I love that, like, during the pandemic stuff, they actually just kept making movies. They didn't care. So I will always support this company and what they're doing. And bad CGI Gator. Oh my God, did we get the title of the movie wrong?
I think you did, yes.
This is why I need a second set of eyes on these things.
Ah.
I need help. I'm spread too thin here, but
yeah.
It happens
and I have time.
It happens during spring break. We already know by the title the effects are terrible.
And by the way, Full Moon features not afraid of nudity whatsoever.
Look, if there's one thing I've learned about Alan, if you want to get him to watch your movie,
nudity.
Just, you know.
What can I get for you, sir?
A boob. At least one.
Great choice.
That's all it
is. Is that like a boob that? Okay, that's weird.
Is there a boob in this? There
is a boob in it. Two. There is a boob in it. But we've got some other topics to discuss, so let's get to those right here. All right. This is something we need to continue to talk about because it's ongoing. This is a developing story.
We're getting right into it.
Yeah, we're just going to do this right at the top.
Okay.
And then we'll get into Ferrari and we've got other things to talk about today. But let's talk about the situation with Disney's Wish. As I said before, multiple animators have reached out to us, both current and former employees of Disney. To protect their identities, we cannot get super specific about these stories, but there are at least a couple other things that we want to pass along to you as this story continues to develop, because oddly enough, Alan and I are being quoted on other shows that we watch and in other articles. But there are a couple interesting things that came to light. And we'll talk about what those are. Alan, do you want to speak broadly about this? And here's the thing. I've been contacted by some major media outlets that have asked me for proof that we spoke to Disney animators, and they've asked me for pay stubs or employee ID cards. I don't think the people already that are in fear who are reaching out to us are going to send me a picture of their employee ID card or pay stub to prove that they worked at Disney. I'm going to take their word for it because the people that reached out have identified themselves. They verified themselves in terms of here's the work I've done. Here's where you can find my credits. Here is my personal website because some are freelancers and whatnot. So we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that for these mainstream outlets, but prepare for this. Alan is going to write a story about this on the website, and you can quote from the story. In fact, we may end up reading from the story. So this is going to be a couple weeks down the line, might even take until next year, but a story about this, all of this is going to be written about, and we will make sure that everyone that's involved in the story, all of our sources are
good with it,
are okay with it.
Yeah.
Okay. Because careers are on the line here.
Absolutely.
So we'll be doing a story on the website, but we have become now the subject. People are looking to us because by the way, I have no idea why a lot of the people have reached out and come to us. One, I think it's because we were talking about it, and Alan seems to know what he's talking about when it comes to Disney. And then secondly, I don't believe, this is a very important point, I don't believe that any of the people reaching out to us trust the mainstream industry trades like Hollywood Reporter, Variety, Deadline, The Wrap, IndieWire. I'll just say this. Film Threat is and always has been a politically agnostic media outlet, meaning we have a diversity of opinions, and we have people on different sides of the aisle all writing reviews and contributing content to the Film Threat website, all sides of the aisles. I don't know that I can say the same for these other trade publications that I've discussed. They seem to have one point of view. All of those other trades, and yes, I'm calling them out, they seem to have one point of view when it comes to everything, and they stick to that party line. That is not true at Film Threat. There are many writers, and they are free to have their opinions and their personal political beliefs. I don't
believe
know
me,
that's
the other
true.
writers don't.
Huh?
I mean, I've had conversations with some of the other writers, and we do not hold the same political positions. But I will say, the reason we're here, we are here to stand up for the independent filmmaker, and we are also here to be a thorn in the side of the big Hollywood studios, and rightfully so. And I'm pretty sure, Chris, you would agree that that's always been Film Threat's mission from the very beginning.
Well, it's always been Film Threat because Film Threat, I'm the consistent thing. I mean, I started it out of high school. I did it in the 90s when it was a bigger magazine. In the 80s, it kind of grew. And I was learning as I went, but I always love different opinions because it's my only opportunity to learn is to listen to someone I don't agree with. Also, by the way, that's the whole point of this country. Somehow we've lost that. But before we get into some of the, Alan, I have the people who've been reaching out to us want to speak to Alan and I. So Alan and I have shared the emails that have been sent. Some send to me and then pass this along. They'll say, please pass this along to Alan, and I've done so.
Yeah, shared between Chris and myself, no one else.
Correct. That's just, I want to make that very clear.
Yeah, please.
So Alan,
please.
Alan, tell me, we were discussing a couple hours ago how this has bubbled up. What more can we say? And we have a couple stories that we're able to tell you. Go ahead, Alan.
So I think from the very beginning, I've been basically the first video that set all this off was just me walking out of Wish and feeling a profound sadness because in my opinion, this Wish was the worst Disney animated feature ever made in Walt Disney's 100 years of existence. In fact, the tagline to Wish was 100 years in the making. And what we have found out is that it did not take 100 years to make this movie. But the reason I bring it up is for my entire life, for the most part, up until the last 5 years, I've been pretty much a Disney simp. a Disney fanatic, um, and up until the last few years, it's like I can't believe they finally lost me. And there was a period of time where maybe for 20 years I'd been spending at least $5,000 to $10,000 a year on the Walt Disney Company, and I can tell you I've spent less than $500 this year on the Walt Disney Company. I mean, that's where it goes here. So let's talk about Disney animation and what we've learned. Um, we're going to cover two areas. The first is regarding Wish, Disney's cost-cutting measures, and then second, we're going to talk about Disney's toxic woke culture, and there's some interesting things to come out of that. But let's just talk about the cost-cutting measures. I made that joke. Wish was 100 years in the making. It wasn't. What we've come to learn is, and this is fairly verifiable, but back when it was hand drawn, I think a Disney animated hand drawn feature took about 3 years to make, and rightfully, obviously so. When they brought in computers, clearly sped up time, and a Disney animated feature took a year. In fact, Strange World, the movie that came before this that no one liked, was a year in the making in terms of animating it, the animation process. Believe it or not, Wish took 3 months to animate.
3 to 4 months. We were
3
told.
to 4 months.
3 to 4 months in
So
total.
not even half the time of Strange World. And if you know, I think you talked about it, quality time and money. When
Right.
you don't have time, your quality goes down. And that's clearly what happened here. If you watch any of the trailers for Wish or any of the behind the scenes for Wish, you will notice one thing is that the majority of the scenes you're seeing are all shot at medium angles. Am I using the right term?
Yes.
Medium frame, meaning you're seeing the full body against the background, and all the action just occurs in that frame. And if you've ever collected comic books, you know that that's boring. What you want to do is you want to get up close. You want to see big swooping action instead of this. And so clearly, there was not enough time to make Wish a classic Disney feature. Not only that, in these 3 to 4 months, animators were working overtime. They were working 60 hours plus to put out Wish. So there was not a lot of time. They were tired. Also, what we come to learn is that when they were making Strange World, meals were paid for. They got Grubhub vouchers. Meals were paid for. With Wish, they got it catered by a company that survived the pandemic.
To clarify, during Strange World, they got Grubhub vouchers, and for this, they didn't. But they did cater meals, basically, so you wouldn't leave, right? And that'll segue into our next thing.
Yeah,
but
and the point also, again, cost cutting measures. The caterers weren't exactly that great. Probably the only ones who survived the pandemic. And then third, there were animators who worked at home, and they were working 60-hour days, 60-hour weeks, and didn't get anything in terms of a meal. The conditions got so bad. I mean, this has been going on for a while, but at the beginning of the production, there was talk of unionizing amongst the animators, and Disney at that time just chose to ignore it. So every plea that the animators gave, the threats of unionization, Disney ignored it. And you can look this up on Twitter, but the animators finally did unionize, and it was a couple weeks ago. It wasn't that long ago, and I think a lot of it had to do with the working conditions from this that just kind of motivated them. So quality time and money. The quality was definitely not there. We can link it to time, but what about money? Okay, let's think about this for a second. Let's just be generous and say animators were earning $150,000 a year for Wish. So they cut the production time down to a third to a fourth of that. So you're talking about $50,000 to work on Wish. I'm guessing here. I could be completely wrong. But if let's just say that with the animators and the staff, you had like maybe 300, 500 people. You're looking at a total human labor cost of grunt workers, probably coming in around $75 million. Let's just be generous and say that it probably came around $75 million. Wish costs $250 million to make. So where'd the money go? Where's
one of the other things that was brought up in the emails is the middle management bloat, that Disney as a company is like the US government. They can't do anything efficiently, monetarily speaking, budget wise, right? To do anything simple, it costs too much. The other things that were brought up, which was very interesting, John Lasseter's name came up, and
let's bring that up in the second part when we talk about the woke.
Oh no. So finish up what you were saying, and I want to get to this John Lasseter.
Yeah, because we'll definitely get to that, because that puts a weird spin on the things I'm sharing with you right now.
Okay,
but let's just say that, I mean, I would think at best the grunt workers, the frontline workers at Wish, they were paid a total of $75 million. You take that from 250, that's $175 million for everything else. Where did that money go? What is happening at Disney right now? Why did this movie cost as much as it did? And again, how do you count for this number? Let's inflate it more. Let's just say everyone who worked on it, $100 million. That's still a lot of money. And I can't believe it went into computers. I can't, Disney is the federal government. Except Disney can't print its own money. Well, Disney dollars, but how is this company even surviving? And these animators, I would be angry too if I knew the total cost of this movie and I knew what I was getting paid for it, and they knew that I was the one who was actually making the magic happen and not given the right amount of time, the right amount of time, not giving it's just to cram everything into 3 to 4 months is insane, and it reflects itself in the quality. So for those of you who have been, critical of me and my analysis of the animation of Wish, please take into account the fact that the animators got screwed over big time, and now factor that into your criticism of me.
A couple more points that we're able to tell you. A couple things. One, I actually saw Wish last night.
What'd you
I
think?
finally saw Wish. And this is after, of course, hearing what your opinion was. I was not going to see it, but I thought, well, if I'm going to talk about it, I better see this movie. It was as generic as those fake CGI Pixar posters. It's so, if it premiered on Disney Plus, I don't think anyone would care. And it would have actually it would have been fine.
It was a direct-to-video production.
Direct to video. It's as high quality as the direct to video features that Disney used to make in the 90s. But it is so generic, and so much of it is so, like, we were kind of laughing looking at the pictures of like the main cast. It just sort of screams the word diversity or checking boxes. I mean, one of the characters is disabled. One looks a vague man or woman.
By the way, name 2 of her friends. 2 of her 7 friends.
One Garbo or
Garbo. It's something like that. Yeah.
In any case, it was just generic. It literally is the first movie that Disney made that, while they didn't use, I'm sure they didn't use AI to make it. It feels like it was made with AI because it so seems like it was made by committee. No singular visionary behind any of this, and everything sort of box checking to make sure it hits all these things for Disney. It's all these, diversity, messaging, everything the Disney corporate would approve of. And this, if this is the future of Disney, this is terrible. Now, the other piece of information that was shared with us, which was a correction based on things we were saying.
Yes. In fact, I was going to bring that up. We can transition out of the production of Wish. Go right into the Disney.
Two more things we need to talk about. One, this John Lasseter story, a very quick story that I can tell you there were a lot of people there, so a lot of people saw this. And this is when charges were brought against John Lasseter at Pixar, that he was a little handsy with his hugging, didn't break the law, not accused of impropriety other than maybe being a bit too affectionate when he hugs, and he liked to drink. I can confirm he liked to drink. And, I believe I knew him when I worked at the Sonoma Valley Film Festival. He was kind, happy, fun, and talked to anybody. The nicest, most unassuming, at least no ego that I observed. He had a blast at the film festival, and he was great. So charges were brought against him. He was on leave for 6 months while Disney was trying to figure out exactly what to do with him. They finally had a company-wide meeting at Pixar and announced that John Lasseter's leaving the company, and we're going to move on from this. And the Disney executive that was at this meeting asked, "Hey, does anyone have any questions?" And a young millennial woman shot up her hand and said, "Can we get a woman to run this place?" And I guess the thought that strikes me is, one, how disrespectful to the Disney executive that's giving this difficult speech, and two, the sense of entitlement of people entering the workforce, having proved nothing, is it's disgusting to me.
Well, yeah. I mean, that gets into the second part that I want to talk about, was the toxic woke culture at Disney Animation, and that's, to me, that indicated the start of it, because I don't think this hugging incident was I would say it was the catalyst of people wanting to get rid of John Lasseter. That people just didn't want him there anymore, and that they didn't. And I look, I don't know anything. I'm just guessing. I'm David Meltzering this. I'm just guessing here, but maybe the feeling is that there's too many white guys up as executives, and you need to take some down, as one, to get rid of some, and two, as a warning to others. One of the mistakes I made that has been brought up to my attention many times was, I mentioned Glenn Keane and Andreas Deja, and how they left the company. What I'm being told is that their tenure at the Walt Disney Company was great. They became millionaires because of it, and they left. So you add these two great animators, add John Lasseter to it, they're gone, and what does that do? It creates a vacuum at the Walt Disney Company.
There is definitely a talent vacuum, and all the veterans have been either pushed out or retired, and there's been no effort to bring in new visionaries that, or at least any new visionary that would come in, would be compromised by box checking.
Yeah.
Here's the new
Gary. Just say Gary mentions it, but they brought, rather than bringing in people of talent, they brought in people of color.
Right. And I think that people of talent should be the priority, and that knows no color. But so, and one last thing, we'll end with this, and we'll go to your chat comments and questions, is we were corrected in one thing. So there's a quick clarification, and I think this is really important. We assumed that much of the messaging was coming from the top, coming from management, to say we're going to have these messages in these movies. It's actually not true. That it's really coming from the bottom, from the bottom and the top, meaning the company is filled with activists at every level, including the animators, to the point where one of the things we heard is that Disney seems like what they'd like to do is just do freelancers, just break the company down and just only use freelancers who would just do as they're told, rather than a constant hand wringing of, is this going to pass muster with all of the animators who politically all believe the same thing. So meaning the activists are at every level and pushing, and there's only one voice that's allowed to be heard, to the point where people who think differently just remain quiet. I'm sure you have some more thoughts on that.
And not only remain quiet, but if you accidentally said something, you were written up and you were sent over to HR.
Yeah, it is a toxic environment. If you think a certain way, or you are of a certain identity, you can read into that what you will.
Yeah.
But the stories that we received are specific, and to the point where, like, people are there are people in the company that don't agree with this, but that is the company. That is the company.
Now let me speak to.
Yeah.
So here are the consequences of what's going on here. Let's just say you're a normal animator, a normal person, not really political, just you know, a normie like the rest of us. You have a couple options. One is you stay silent and you stay in hiding, and that's a miserable work environment. To know that anything you say or might maybe a joke you make, or maybe just some passing comment that maybe you know, you don't agree with, you know, whatever side, whatever. So now you're forced into silence, and again, miserable living. The second is you say something, you get written up, and then you get fired. Or third, you go elsewhere, which is probably the most sad thing about this. You know, Disney used to be the dream. You know, if you want to be an animator, if you want to be an artist, you went to Cal Arts, and from Cal Arts you went to Disney. It's not that way anymore. The quality is not. You know, you wanted to be associated with Disney because you wanted to be associated with quality. That quality is not there anymore. You wanted to be associated with Disney because you were a part of a culture that was family friendly and everybody loved it. That's not there anymore. And people are leaving. And you know, I think I'll say it broadly, but you know, it's not. This is not just happening at Disney, and that's pretty much as far as I can say there. The industry is in trouble altogether, and you know, there are people willing to stand up, but there's a lot of people willing not to. And I'll say this: the people who are the biggest targets at Disney are probably the senior white male executives, because they're gunning for them.
Well,
and I think a lot of I think, you know, not to give Bob Iger a pass, but I'm pretty sure that, you know, his hands are tied too. Otherwise, you know, a story might just leak. You know, something might just come out.
I think the only way to turn this around is an Elon Musk Twitter-like purge.
Mm-hmm.
Fire lots of people, including good people. You can rehire them.
Yep.
But I mean, look, I would go so far as to, like, if you're going to work on cartoons for kids, maybe you should have kids. Maybe you should at least have some understanding of what it's like to be a parent, because that is a huge responsibility. And we're basically seeing the Disney doing damage to itself at this point. There will be, I just want to let everyone know that, like, there's so much that we're not telling you, and Alan and I are being cagey by design, because there are people working in this industry living in fear that if they express themselves, they'll not only lose their current jobs, but they'll be unemployable by any other studio, because a lot of these people, they work on different things. So Disney hires a bunch of freelancers for this movie, and they go and they work on different movies. So all these people are working on different types of things. And the animation industry, you'll always have a job. You know, you move from one, you go to the next, but maybe not if you think a certain way. So it's come to this. So we will be doing a story on Film Threat. And once that story comes out, we'll go over it. Alan is going to reach out to some of these people. Any other new animators or anyone that wants to reach out, go to filmthreat.com/contact. That goes to Alan and I, and we'll be doing an investigative story soon. I will say this: hold for, like, as soon as that story comes out, watch them try to cancel Film Threat or me or Alan. It's going to happen. Look, I've always been something of, anyone that knows me from back, like, Film Threat when it was a magazine, I've always been something of an outsider or pariah when it comes to Hollywood anyways, but I'm an independent, but Film Threat is an independent media outlet, and it's supported by the community, which we support the indie film community in turn. But prepare for people to come after us once this comes out. I'm just bracing you for it. I'm predicting this in advance, that people are going to come after us, Alan. It's going to happen. I mean, not that it hasn't happened already, but, you know, we're kind of used to it at this point. Whatever.
Yeah. And the only way I'm getting through it is with a cup of coffee brand coffee.
Stop it. We don't sell coffee.
We don't sell coffee. We don't sell coffee.
Buy a Film Threat mug if you're gonna.
Yeah, that's right. Drink out of a Film Threat mug.
But I don't know how long it'll take to do that story. Everything's got to be vetted, and it's not the type of thing that we do. We mostly focus on reviews and movie news, investigative stories we've done in the past. But I will just say this, you know who's not going to write this story? IndieWire's not going to write it. The Wrap is not going to write it. Deadline's not going to write it. And the Reporter and Variety are not going to write this story because they all think a certain way, and that's all I'll say on that. All right, let's go to your chat comments and questions, starting with a slew of super chats that have been rolling in. Let's go with those. The Morak for 499. Hello, Chris and Alan. Did you see the trailers for Lady Ballers from Daily Wire and The Shift from Angel Studios? And will you review for the channel? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Maybe
I have
we'll
the screener for Shift, so I'm going to hopefully see it tonight.
Lady Ballers, we have not seen. It debuts tomorrow at 5 p.m. Pacific time. We will review it next week. That is my promise to you. Big Worm for 10. Did they have 3 months because they put it off or because they scrapped something already made written? How could they only allocate that much time? Something happened there. That's where the dollars is. I'll tell you what happened is they had a deadline to meet and a movie to make by that deadline. And that's the movie that they ended up with. Again, when the story comes out, when we have a story, I'm talking about a story on the website, those questions will be answered.
I'll say one thing. I mean, Ariana DeBose, who is the star, clearly she didn't get the job until after West Side Story came out. So that's barely 2 years ago.
Right.
And it just felt like there's a lot of scrambling for that movie.
Red French Moon for €2. Basically, Disney is the Soviet Bureau now. You could put it that way. Israel Fury for 99. Zara something. Disney started their feminizing boy brands with 3 cars, McQueen, bait and switch with Lady Car. Cars 3. Cars 3, yeah. And then goes on to say Frozen is ground zero for the I don't need a man to save me Disney propaganda.
Did you hear that story about Cars 3?
No, but tell me.
Yeah, this is hardly a story because Disney put this out as a behind the scenes. But they literally counted in the original script, they counted the number of lines that women spoke and what they said, and they realized that that it didn't even match 50%. And so they went and rewrote it so that statistically women had the same number of lines as men.
Disney is a girl brand. Disney is a girl brand. It just is. Israel Fury goes on to say Disney animation has been frog boiling us for years. Women characters are not allowed to have male love interests. Moana, Frozen, Wish, etc. Yeah, Israel, you are 100% correct. I noticed it. I'll tell you when I really noticed it, when The Force Awakens came out.
Mm-hmm.
When The Force Awakens came out, and I'm like, oh, there's no romance in this? Okay. I hated The Force Awakens, but that's when I noticed that Disney owns Star Wars now. You've got some male characters, but you have, and it's a boy brand, and then you've got no romance. There's even a scene where basically Finn gets friend zoned by Rey, which was weird.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know.
Okay, so Elementals is the only movie Disney has put out in a very long time that had romance in it.
Yeah. Thank you, Israel. Cyberhunk 2069 for 10. The staffers should be good parents. On one of the corporate Zooms that released, one of the Disney staffers said she had a trans kid and a bisexual kid. Both were under 10. CBS should investigate Disney. Yeah, it's just weird that a lot of people in the entertainment industry have certain types of kids. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, some people, they're very competitive. They like to collect handbags. Okay. I'm not one of those people. I'm not super competitive when it comes to that kind of stuff. Maybe with comic books, but even that, I'm not. What can I say? Eric Stratton for 777. I'm behind you both 100%. If harsher cancellation happens, don't know what I could do, but just ask me, all of us. The point is, everybody has to speak out at once. The only way for any change to happen, the only way for there to be a shift in the industry is if everyone that's complaining does it all at the same time, right?
Yeah. Well, that
Like-
I mean, it happened in the reverse with with the whole George Floyd thing. Over
Exactly.
over-
Like everybody,
everyone, the wrong side spoke up, so to speak.
right? But if people speak out, and a lot of people are speaking out, then we can have the conversation. But if one side lives in fear of speaking out to potentially ruin their careers, that's not an environment. That's not an America that I feel comfortable in. That needs to, God, I don't know. I guess I grew up that like I always love discussing different ideas with people, and it's like, let's kind of let the best ideas win, not one win by intimidation and fear. And that's where we're at right now. And it's really
Yeah.
disheartening.
It's the loudest person and name calling. That's what debate is nowadays.
Right.
Speaking of,
Mexican Iron Man for $9.99. You are not getting canceled. Mexican Iron Man stands at the ready with salsa and guacamole, shoulder launchers, and the sombrero shield. One of the best cosplays I ever saw at LA Comicon was someone dressed as Captain Mexico. And it was a Captain America costume, but all with Mexican flag colors, and it was awesome. I took a picture of the guy. He was wearing a sombrero. It was funny, and it was celebrating Mexico. I thought it was fantastic. Well, thank you, Mexican Iron Man. Mike, you're great. You're awesome. Yeah. Always appreciate you. Magnum Norse for 10. Dude, you bung chunks. Tell the truth. No. I bung chunks. What are you talking about?
I'm trying to figure that one out.
Chris is Lois Lane, and Alan is April O'Neil, says MK Solid 82.
We're gender swapping now.
Yeah, there we are. What can you say?
It's come to this.
Look, it's not like Film Threat is not an industry trade publication. It's more of an opinion and a champion of indie films. So most of our content on the website is interviews with filmmakers, reviews of indie movies, and like news stories about things that are going on. We don't do investigative reports or trade stuff. The YouTube channel is more Alan and I's opinion on things. But I think this begs that now that like animators feel comfortable talking to us because they feel that they can't even reach out to the trade publications that, for the most part, generally do those kinds of stories. That says something right there. I'm going to talk to these YouTubers I've been watching because I feel like I trust them. But in turn, we have to we have to protect them. So we're going to find a way to write a story so that there's so much that I really want to tell all of you.
I know.
Specific stories that are heartbreaking because we're seeing the industry destroy itself.
Yeah. But I mean, it goes back to, we're independent film. The tools are there for you to create animated features, animated shorts. Not like before. If you have that story to tell, Hollywood is not the dream. Just go out and tell that story. If you have to spend $50 a month, subscribe to Adobe, and they've got all the tools you need for animation.
Big Red Writer for $4.99 who's also a member. By the way, if you're a member of the channel, please subscribe, become a member of the channel. We do a lot of giveaways and benefits for our members. You can join the Film Threat Discord. Heck, you can just be a member for 1 month, get on the Discord and hang out with us. And we do giveaways. We have a giveaway today and I think Friday or next week for codes. So digital codes. We're giving away digital codes for the movie The Fugitive, 4K digital codes right after the stream. If you're a member, check out the members tab, grab the codes. They're up for grabs.
Have a Movies Anywhere account.
Yeah, make sure you've got your Movies Anywhere account. You're logged into the account. Codes go up after the stream today. But thank you, Big Red Writer. Luckily, the market has the biggest voice in the room. Wallets will always win the day. Green is the only color that matters. The purge is coming. I believe that.
Yeah. I mean, that was one thing that came up in a lot of the emails was, Disney has its heart set on the message.
Right.
And they don't, for some reason, they don't care about profits. And ultimately, the question is, how long can that last?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, back to your comments and questions here. Because we got to talk about Ferrari, and I've got something I got to show you that you're not going to believe. So don't go anywhere. From Rumble, $8.24. Good luck canceling Film Threat once they have 100,000 subs on YouTube this weekend. It's possible. Yeah, 100,000 subs. No, actually, we want to get to 100,000 and
It's 69.
and what, Alan?
69.
Where's that clip of you saying that?
I just gave it to you.
Oh, you know who you're going to see this weekend?
Hi, Dad, I miss you.
Well, you guys are going to dim sum tomorrow, and then
Yeah.
you're going to dim sum tomorrow. Oh, wait, you're muted.
Oh,
No, you're back.
okay.
You were muted. Yeah. Join us at the 35er in Pasadena tomorrow, 8 p.m. Thursday, 8 p.m. Gary from Nerdrotic, I'll be there. X-Ray Girl, other people.
Sarah.
I don't want to say who. Let them speak for themselves. So there you go. On with more chat, comments, and questions. Look, just the thing is I'm so used to it now. It's like, whatever. I said something stupid on what really surprises me is when people I know in real life come after me on Twitter. I'm like, you could have texted me. You could have DM'd me. We could have actually spoken in person because I know you. You know I am a jackass who says what I think. You don't have to agree with me. The whole point is we coexist and disagree. But some people feel entitled that you're a bad person because you think a certain way or whatever. I don't know. I'm just sort of, I don't know. I've just lost patience with those types of people. So there you go. Couple more super chats that dropped in. Jeff McCullough for 5. Your guys' thoughts on the latest Doctor Who? More messages for the Disney pile. I am a casual Doctor Who fan. I like I used to watch Doctor Who when I was a kid. I watched the Christopher Eccleston season, the one season. Became a fan again. David Tennant, love him. He's my favorite of the modern Doctors. Obviously, Tom Baker for classic Doctor. I used to watch Doctor Who when it was on PBS. I'd watch Monty Python, Doctor Who, and I, Claudius. I know that's quite a combo. Faulty Towers, Black Adder, the Red Dwarf. I love those things. I have not watched. I had checked out of Doctor Who years ago, and I have no thoughts on it. I have watched the videos, and I feel I made a good decision. I have no plans to see it. But thank you for Jeff for the 5. Alan, you're a huge Doctor Who fan.
No, I'm hardly. No, I'm like you. I watched Doctor Who as a child on PBS. Scared the hell out of me every Saturday afternoon. Davros and the Daleks. But we lived at a time where you couldn't record this stuff and there was no cable, and so when I grew older, I just fell away from Doctor Who.
Well,
but Tom Baker has been my one and only Doctor.
Yes, well, I hope you have a scarf. First of all, I was lucky enough. I was 14 years old when I got a VCR from money from my paper route. See, what I would do, this taught me a lot when I was a kid. I would work jobs and earn money and then buy things I wanted. So I started helping a friend of mine with a newspaper route when I was 9. I got my own paper routes when I was 11. And then I had those all the way through college. When I was 19, I was still delivering newspapers because I made a good chunk of money. I had 5 newspaper routes spread across 15 blocks, and I delivered newspapers to a hospital, and it taught me a lot. It taught me a lot as a kid. So there you go. Jacob Odom for 4.9. So when I bought the VCR, I would record things like Monty Python and all of that when I was a kid. Jacob Odom for 4.99. The problem is that U.S. theaters is no longer the place for original and well-written stories. That's where television is. I would agree with that. Television went through kind of a golden age. I think it's mixed results now. I think you really have to pan for gold.
Gone are the days of Seinfeld and Friends where you were getting millions upon millions of people watching it every Thursday night. Everything's now streaming. The financial situation is not there.
Well,
And
the truth is the audience has contracted, it's shrunk. In addition, the audience has divided in the sense that you've got this. I mean, when there were the three networks, right? They would get tens of millions of views for shows, just average shows,
yeah,
not very good.
appointment viewing. That's what they called it.
What's that?
Appointment viewing. That's what.
That's
they called
right.
Yeah.
Appointment viewing, must see TV. Do you remember that?
I mean, I think the last time I remember that was Lost. You know, every Thursday
Right.
night, everyone was at their television watching Lost and talking about it the next day.
Yeah, in the 90s, for me, it was Twin Peaks. You'd watch it and then discuss it.
Mhm.
It was fascinating. It was this sort of collective thing experience that we all had and we could talk about.
Yeah, and the networks were making, millions. I mean, how much were the Friends making each? Like
It was crazy amount of money. Crazy amount of money for all of them.
and they were pulling in that kind of revenue from commercials.
Right. More comments here. We got to wrap it up on the Disney comments because I have at least one more movie to cover today. Tom Siebert says this is all very concerning, especially Alan Ng's observations about it's not just Disney. I agree. Entire industries are in deep trouble because it's all about groupthink, not creativity. 100%, Tom. Groupthink rather than a visionary that has a story to tell. I think part of this has eroded where a lot of when I talk about Star Wars, Star Wars was this culmination of a lot of influences from everything that came before Star Wars, which were Westerns and Marvel comics in the 60s and Flash Gordon and Buck Rogers serials. It was influenced by all this that came before it, including George Lucas's own personal life experience, where he almost expired in a car accident in high school, changed his life, made him a more serious-minded person, and became much more serious and philosophical at a young age. And George Lucas got serious about his career. So now you have a generation that grew up with cell phones and their experience. We're never going to see another Star Wars movie that wasn't influenced by the last Star Wars thing. So it's this pop culture eats itself, where it's member berries, nostalgia, and you have an episode of Ahsoka that starts with a character saying the words a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. It's kind of embarrassing that this is where we're at, but this is where we're at.
Yeah. Hey, let's go back to 1937. Snow White had come out. 1937, the United States, the world was still in the Great Depression. 1937 was a recession, meaning all the gains that had been made since 1920 had gone the other direction. So people had no hope at this time. And out comes this movie about a girl who one day her prince would come. She brought hope to a nation that did not see hope and would not see hope for a very long time. And this movie revolutionized the film company and told a story that connected with the people at that time. And it was Walt Disney just saying, where is my audience at, and what can I say to them? That's hardly, today it's weird.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
Gore, is John Woo coming on the show? Says MK Solid 82 for 199. No, but we are going to talk about Silent Night on Friday. I have seen it, and I
saw it last night as well.
I can't wait to talk to you about it.
Okay.
Jesus Davila gifted 1 Film Threat membership, and we have a new member in Chris Nicholson. Chris and Jesus, check out the member tab now that you have access to it, and check out the stuff happening there. Join the Discord. Holy cow. John Thomas comes in for 50. Thank you, John. That is incredibly generous. I have purchased books from authors whom I could tell I disagreed with politically. The books were well written with good stories and explored ideas with a different point of view. Only John Scalzi I cut off because of canceling an author from a con.
Mhm.
Wow. Yeah, it does really disappoint me when you see, people whose livelihood is based on cultivating an audience turn on the audience. So John, I hear what you're saying, and it's disheartening. I don't know. Look, I don't care. You can be on this stream. We can have a conversation. We can disagree about things politically. I feel like movies brings us together. Thank you, John. That's really generous.
And by the way, stay tuned for our American Fiction review.
We're going to talk. Friday's going to be review day, and it's going to be a lot. American Fiction. Are we talking about American Fiction on Friday?
No, I think that comes out next week.
We should add it to the list if we have time.
Yeah.
There's just too many. There are good movies that are coming out, and we will point you to all of them. Josh L for 499. Hey, dudes. Great. Thanks for the great stream. Any video game adaptation shows or movies you particularly like? Yes. BioShock. I think BioShock is a beautiful story. I got choked up at the end of the first BioShock. I think it's an incredible world, very original. I like the sort of, libertine, early sort of 20s Art Deco design in an underwater world. I love that. Cyberpunk 2077. I finished the game over the last couple holidays ago. I am going to be playing Phantom Liberty over. Alan and I might do some members game. We're just playing games just for members. Because
once the holiday comes,
well, Alan broke his PS5. There's a video of that if you search the channel. I tried to give him a PS5. He broke the first one I gave him. So there you go. But yeah, I'm a gamer. But I do I've been a fan of games since I was a kid. What can I say? Really time is the issue for me. And I think probably the same, Alan has the same problem.
Yeah.
Because we always talk about hey, we should do this. I'm like, yeah, do you have the time to do this? No.
Well, I mean, we got to do it this Christmas vacation.
Yes. Yeah. Well, okay, we'll do it. Okay. We're going to game. Thank you, Josh. And from Rumble, Joe Kuhn says, but the head of animation, Wayne Unton, is a legit master of animation.
Yeah. And he's probably barely holding on to his job.
We'll see.
I'm just saying.
John Z, not even their stated investment isn't accounted for, but the other parts of the industry which focus on making money from what they produce, clothing, toys, movie theaters. Yes. That will be diminishing returns if you're not making things people love. I mean, I'll say this. My guess is that, look, if you look at in terms of franchise, what is the most popular superhero? Number one is Spider-Man. How do we know this? Box office from movies and licensing. When you look at what merchandise sells, it's Spider-Man. Number two is Batman. Okay. Those are number one, number two. And my guess is if you go down in terms of popularity of characters, you're going to see the Avengers. I'm talking about the original Avengers. When it comes to merch, people are still buying Hulk, Thor, Iron Man, Captain America. They're still buying original Avengers merch. Just a guess. They were very popular characters, and I believe continue to be. Sons and Shadows member for 4 months. Chris, RoboCop Rogue City must get. I did get it. I picked it up. I need to play it. But thank you, Sons and Shadows.
So you don't know if it's good or not.
Gamer tag on PS5. We'll tell you what they are right now. My gamer tag is GBone77, the number 77. GBone77. Don't ask. It's a dumb name. Alan, do you care to give out your gamer tag?
Yeah, I have to look it up.
Okay. Anyways,
We'll
post something for members. Maybe we should start a gaming channel on our Discord. We'll do that. Thank you, Sons and Shadows. And okay, we got to that one. Angel Arch says losing Glenn Keane is even worse for Disney animation than losing John Lasseter. Disney has no major animation talent left.
Oh, I was going to mention that last comment about the master of animation. Even a master of animation can't do good work with 3 months.
I was going to say, I believe that the 3 to 4 months was a deadline that was they had to have it open on the 100th. We're making a movie, good or bad. It should have been on Disney Plus.
There was no delaying this one.
Or they could have done a limited theatrical release and Disney Plus release.
Yeah. By the way, my PS gamer tag is mypal-al-a farty.
I'm not going to ask what that means, but mine is weird. Gbone77. That was the joke with Gbone was whenever I'd go to Vegas with friends, we would always come up with well, what's your Vegas name? What's the cool name you say when you're in Vegas? We're not going to use our real names, just our Vegas names. I think I got that from an episode of Seinfeld. So I'm Because I think isn't it that he calls himself, what's his name? George calls himself T-Bone. In an episode of Seinfeld, the chat is always right. The chat will know. In an episode of Seinfeld, George, to be cool, was like, my name is T-Bone. And I'm like, well, I'll be G-Bone. So I'd go to Vegas with friends and we'd say, well, we would just call each other by these stupid nicknames. And that carried over into my gamer tag. Yeah. Don't judge me.
I didn't really watch Seinfeld.
Snow Queen, Elsa. Also go see The Boy and the Heron, everyone. The Boy and the Heron is fantastic if you're a Miyazaki fan. It is the best animated movie currently in theaters.
Trolls.
Well, care to disagree.
Okay.
I care to I'm just going to have to disagree.
I'm sorry. Trolls, In Sync reunion. That's all I'll say.
All right. We're switching gears. We are literally switching gears to talk about a movie that I didn't know existed. And that is the movie, This Is Real. We're going to watch it. It's called Lamborghini, the man behind the legend. So here you've got all these, you had Ford versus Ferrari. Then now we have Ferrari, and I'm going to give you my review momentarily. I was completely unaware when I was searching for information about Ferrari that they made a movie called Lamborghini. And it stars Frank Grillo, I believe. Am I right? Let's go. We're going to watch the trailer here real quick because first of all, I can't even believe that this exists. But there is a movie called Lamborghini, the man behind the legend. And we're going to watch, I don't know if we'll watch the whole trailer. We'll watch it here, but I'm going to have to mute myself. I hate when I have to do that. But we're going to watch it and then I'll give you my review of Ferrari. We have a special guest coming on. So let's check this out. And want to thank you. We have over 1,000 people watching us live. I want to say thank you to everyone who's in the chat, spending your afternoon with Alan and I, who is my pal Al - Artie Farty.
No, A Farty. If you're a Daniel Amos fan, you'll know what that is.
Okay. All right, here we go. Let's check out and feel free to mute me, Alan. Here we go.
Okay.
It's the trailer for Lamborghini.
The world has changed. I want the world to never forget my name. Our name.
Signor Ferrari, in my opinion, you make the best cars in the world. But with all my Ferraris, there is a problem. The clutch. I have a solution. If you consider a partnership, Ferrari, Lamborghini.
Go back to your tractors, farmer.
Okay.
I love those accents.
So here's the deal. I get the feeling that all of these companies, Lamborghini and Ferrari, they competed with each other in terms of their brands. They're competitive on the racetrack. They're competitive when it comes to, when it comes to their vehicles and the quality of their vehicles and their ability to be the fastest race car. But now they're competing in competing movies. Movie Lamborghini just came out last year. It's obviously lower budget than Ferrari. Whatever you want to say about that. But this movie we can keep watching it. Is this interesting to you, Alan?
At the moment, yeah. I mean,
right.
Again, these accents are amazing.
Okay, here we go. All right, mute me here. Here we go.
What are you thinking?
Thinking of a car that doesn't exist yet. One that is as strong and powerful and as unforgettable as the bull. I'm going to build it. How long will it take?
Can't be done.
If it doesn't work, we'll lose everything.
You want me to be like everyone else? It's not impossible until we fail. In 6 months in Geneva, people will be looking for the next Ferrari. What they will find is the first Lamborghini.
That's something new. I don't know if this would work.
The world will be ready for this one day.
Tell me why you think that the world needs another luxury car.
It's perfection that I am after.
don't care about me. The only thing that matters is a great Lamborghini.
What do you want me to do? Why are we here? To make a car. To make the best car.
You have a responsibility to tell them what you're doing.
Lamborghini is too uneducated to understand what he doesn't know.
You buy a Ferrari when you want to be someone. You buy a Lamborghini when you are someone.
This is essentially Ford versus
Lines on a napkin. What do you think?
This is the low budget version. This is the low budget version of Ford versus Ferrari. Look, I like Gabriel Byrne, I like Frank Grillo, but I feel like what's happened is now the competitiveness with all of these car movies, Ford versus Ferrari. Now we have Ferrari. What is this? The connected cinematic automobile universe? Yeah, I have a theory. My theory is that partially these movies, this is just a theory, I have no confirmation, but it wouldn't surprise me to learn that these movies were partially funded by these companies themselves, that the egos of the people behind these companies in their current form are like, well, if there's a Ford, there's going to be a Ferrari movie. Oh yeah, I'm going to make the Lamborghini movie. So get ready for Toyota the movie.
Well, we got that. We got
that.
Gran Turismo.
Gran Turismo. You're going to see. That was basically Gran Turismo.
Yeah,
right.
But that's Toyota, right? Or
Yeah,
is that
they. But also, like, think of the other car brands: Jaguar, and you got to say Jaguar, Tesla with Elon Musk. I just think these have to have been, because in order to get the rights, you've got to, and this is the thing, you're going to get the rights to tell the Lamborghini story or the Ferrari story. You're going to have cooperation from the people whose real lives this is based on, right? You're going to have some cooperation from the brand, the company. So in order to do that, my guess is there is some funding in some way that these I'm going to guess that's why we're seeing a slew of these films. And I believe we're going to see more. This is not the end. Lamborghini was last year. We have Ferrari this year. Prepare for a couple more in some car.
So I'm being corrected. Nissan is Gran Turismo.
Right.
So that's the Nissan movie. I'm waiting for the Hyundai movie where everyone has Korean accents, just like this. I want to see Asian American actors doing Korean accents. Maybe get the Honda versus Toyota saga.
Maybe the Ford F-150 movie. But I think
let's remake Gung Ho while we're at it.
I think this is a trend. And I think it has to do with how competitive these companies are.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is just the beginning of it. But the fact that you and I were blissfully unaware that a Lamborghini movie even existed, and it came up when I searched for the Ferrari movie, the Lamborghini movie came up in the search. Why is that?
Was it an ad? Maybe Lamborghini was
no, it was just like I was
an ad up
searching
there.
for Ferrari. I was searching for Ferrari, the movie, information about the movie, and that came up. It wouldn't
surprise me if Lamborghini, as BMW owns Lamborghini, I wouldn't be surprised if BMW, when the Ferrari trailer came out, started putting buying ad search terms for it.
All I'm saying is, get ready. This is a trend that will continue and is not going away. So there you are. All right, time for us to pivot just a second. Oh, do we have any comments? Here, some chat comments and questions really quick before we pivot to Ferrari. Zodlander for 100 Swedish krona. I'm a bit late to tune into the stream, but I wanted to ask, what is the worst movie show of 2023? Mine will most likely be Doctor Who, but I tuned out of Doctor Who in 2017. What's your top pick this year, Chris and Alan? I think that's pretty...
Bottom pick, really.
The bottom pick, yeah. So what is the worst?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, let's see. Kenobi was the previous year, right?
Yeah, no, Ahsoka is on my list.
I'd probably say Ahsoka might be the worst. I mean, I canceled my Disney Plus because there was just nothing left.
Secret Invasion.
Oh, Secret Invasion might be the worst. But it's definitely something on Disney Plus for sure. So, yeah. Allie P. the Goddess says Christine versus Chrysler. See, that's a movie I would go see. You know what? How about number 53? Who knows number 53? If you're a Disney fan, you know what number 53 is.
Volkswagen.
That's Volkswagen. Volkswagen and Herbie the Love Bug. That would be great to get all the cars, the stars that are cars, and put them all in one movie. You've got the Batmobile, which was based on what? A Ford Futura, if I recall correctly.
The DeLorean
from Back to the Future. Just get all the famous cars and put them in one movie and have them fight. Or just make that into a video game. I would love that. Red French Moon for €2 says, I want Peugeot, the movie, and Citroën, the cartoon. And I'm sure I mispronounced that. Thank you, Red French Moon. The John Beck for 2 says, thanks, guys. Eagerly awaiting my shirts and hoodie. Oh, well, thank you. Thank you for shopping at shop.filmthreat.com. Use offer code FilmThreat-HO for 10% off. And we got that one.
Yeah.
Great. All right.
Sorry. Someone's brought up Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
Chitty Chitty. I love that. I had a die-cast car of that when I was a kid.
Yeah. And then Knight Rider. That's the other.
Nice. All right. Well, I wonder if I have time for a quick review. Let's talk about Ferrari. We're going to have to move a bunch of these reviews to Friday.
Yeah, we should review the movie that's on the thumbnail.
That's not the thumbnail.
Oh, did it change?
That's the thumbnail from the other movie. That's not Ferrari. This is Ferrari.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying is we put on the thumbnail. We should talk about the movie.
Cool. All right, let's talk about Ferrari, which is about the loves of Enzo Ferrari, played by Adam Driver. His wife, Laura Ferrari, played by Penelope Cruz. He is in a somewhat happy marriage. He's certainly married to a woman who loves him and is obsessed with him. He's also having an affair with a woman named Lena Lardy, played by Shailene Woodley, and they have together a bastard son. So he has the family by name and then a family on the side. In addition, Enzo is passionate about his cars and is he has a team of race car drivers and a company that he's been building for years. Since after the war in Europe in the 1920s, he's built this car company. They produce very few cars a year, just a few hundred cars, specifically made to race. He wants to scale the company and get money, but what is going to attract money? Winning races. That's what will attract money. And this is a portrayal by Adam Driver. If you see him, if you've seen pictures of him, or if you've seen the trailer, he's in a lot of makeup to age him. He's probably about 20 years older than Adam Driver in real life, in terms of, Enzo's stage of life. And this movie is directed by Michael Mann, of course, Michael Mann with Miami Vice, the television show, and also Heat, probably one of the greatest crime action movies ever made. Heat. But I'll just say this, Michael Mann has been, and full disclosure, I went to a screening of this movie where there was a Q&A with Michael Mann and Denis Villeneuve at the end of the screening. There was a buffet of food, but that could not, even the free drinks and food could not sway my opinion on this film. It's a mixed to negative in terms of my thoughts, and I'll tell you why. By the trailers and the marketing, you think this film is going to be all about the action and the racing. It is about that, but not until we get to about the last third of the film does racing takes precedence over the family drama. His relationship with his wife, which is contentious. He's cheating on her with another woman, who he has another young son, dealing with the grief and loss of a son that he lost with his wife previously. So while you think you're getting seated and getting belted in for what's going to be this amazing racing experience, it's less than half of the movie. Patrick Dempsey plays one of the race car drivers. His name is Piero, and he is a skilled veteran race car driver who works for Enzo. But this is not the major story that's being played out. It's really about Enzo's grappling with the loss of his son and his new bastard son and other family and how he deals with that. I'll say this. Most of the racing scenes are pretty good, pretty amazing, actually. And there is a shocking moment in the film. And the shocking moment in the film is a crash. This is all, if you know anything about the real Ferrari, the events are fairly accurate in terms of the beats. A lot of people are killed. It's shocking because it really doesn't hold back. And some of the special effects I thought were weak. So what you have is these spectacular race scenes, which seem real, supplemented by some things that are not. And I'll just say that some of the CG was not great. Also, you know, I almost think for accuracy, for a lot of these things, I think, you know, just go for accuracy. I'd almost rather see a documentary about Ferrari and all of the highlights of his career, or I'd rather see a movie in Italian, because Adam Driver speaking he sounds like, I hate to say it, I always think when I hear someone giving like, and I'm not going to say the accent's not bad, I'll just say it's not great. Whenever I hear someone speaking in a not so great Italian accent, all I can think is Chef Boyardee. Okay. I'm going to make you a little meatball and a spaghetti. Like, it just sounds, it's like, it's a little too much. It's a little too much. So, yeah. Ferrari. Like, it's just
Abbondanza.
Yeah. I mean, it works in The Godfather because they are Italian Americans, but Ferrari, Enzo was Italian, and this whole film takes place in Europe. Okay. So in any case, I was disappointed. I felt the film, even at 2 hours and 11 minutes, felt long. The special effects were mixed. So you've got some really fantastic race scenes that felt like puts you right in the driver's seat. And you can tell that Michael Mann really put his focus on those scenes. But what dominates in the film, the main conflict that dominates the movie is his relationship with these two women and the loss of his son. And while that would make a good backdrop to a racing story, it's out of balance. So they're sucking you in by like, it's a racing film. You're going to get all this racing stuff. And it ends up being like a Hallmark movie with all this familial drama that is nowhere near as interesting as when they're racing. So you're like, oh my God, get these drama scenes done with, or have it play in the background. And it just felt watching it that Michael Mann was a little off his game as a director.
I'll be honest. The trailer to me came across as the story of a man with two wives.
That's what the movie is.
Yeah, but
that's what the movie is.
But when watching that, I was thinking, well, the racing stuff certainly has to balance it out. I mean, is this story between him and these two women that compelling to make an entire movie based on it?
No. And the thing is, they tease this where he lost a son. His son was young. He did everything he could to try to save him. He used his skills as an engineer to try to save his son, and failed. And so he's living in the shadow of, he blames himself for the death of his son, even though his son died by means that weren't his fault. It was his son died of a disease, and he's scarred from it. He's scarred from it. His wife is scarred from it, and it's tragic. It is definitely tragic. So,
but my point is that compelling enough to tell an entire movie about it? This is definitely the feeling I got watching the trailer. Was, I mean, this is interesting, but do I want to see a movie about this?
it's not compelling enough to carry the film. If they had reversed it and put the drama as the backdrop to, if they made the drama the backdrop to a racing story, and this is underneath the surface, I think it would have been far more powerful.
Yeah, it should have been a sports drama versus a family drama.
It's more of a family drama than a sports drama. So in the end, a disappointment. I would score it somewhere between a 5 and 6 out of 10. And I was really looking forward to it. I still really, really like Adam Driver as an actor. I think Adam Driver is fantastic. I watched
best thing in the sequels.
What's that?
Best thing in the sequels.
He's one of the better actors in the sequels. I don't know that there are any bad actors in the Star Wars sequels. Just bad script and a bunch of activist messaging, which is unnecessary and makes it not a Star Wars film. But yeah, Adam Driver, still love that actor, and I'll go see. He's an actor that I believe when he actually ages into the makeup that he has in the movie, he'll be a really interesting actor. So there you go. A couple of super chats, and then we have a special guest that's going to be joining us momentarily to discuss a new documentary that's out. A couple questions here from Rumble. Toxic Avenger 3 says, Adam Driver playing another Italian? Yeah, can you believe it? I really feel like a lot of this, look, with all due respect to Michael Mann, a lot of this is you're trying to thread the needle of getting the movie made. And so you need to make sure that the financiers of the film are comfortable that you have cast the movie so that you can make your money back. That's the bottom line. Do we want to make our money back? Yes, we want to make our money back. Okay, then you've got to cast notable actors. So there you go. But I like Adam Driver.
So Enzo, Ferrari or Gucci?
Right.
Which one?
John Thomas for 5. BMW and Porsche really don't want a movie about their history. Lol. That's true. Yeah, they're not. Or Volkswagen. Who had something someone very famous had something to do with that car.
I mean, other than Herbie.
Don't look it up, Alan. Don't look it up. Butter Biscuit 92 for 2. Rocket League is the famous car battle game now. Ooh, nice. I'll have to check that out. Rocket League. All right. I like a good car racing game.
It's a tough game. I can't.
Oh, really?
I can't.
Well, it's like I stopped playing the Arkham Asylum games once they got to like you've got to control the Batmobile.
Mm-hmm.
I was not a fan of the Batmobile. Controlling the Batmobile was not for me. But here we go. We're about to pivot now. Hang on a second. Thank you for your patience, folks. It's a lot going on right now. Let's talk to wait, okay. I thought we were gonna have. I'm gonna have to like. We're gonna switch here. Here we go. Hang on. My apologies. We're going to quickly talk to Mark Bittner. Mark Bittner. I'm Chris Gore. This is Alan Ng. Good to see you, sir. Good to meet you.
Hello. Judy should be here too. Is she?
Judy's gonna Judy's gonna join us any minute.
Yeah.
She's the actual filmmaker.
She's the filmmaker. You are the subject of this film.
Yeah. One of the subjects.
One of the subjects. Yes. Okay. So let me do this. Let me put you on hold. I'm going to review another movie.
Okay.
While I put you in the background. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
We'll wait for Judy. All right, good. Mark will be right back. Thank you, Mark, for your patience. Thank you, Mark, for your patience here. All right. What am I doing? We don't have, unfortunately, we don't have Ms. P Coffee here today.
Yeah.
She is traveling.
Yeah. Did you want to do Bye Bye Barry then?
Let's do that. Let's do that. Can you bring that up for me, Alan?
Yeah. Although, yeah.
All right. Real quick, we're going to talk about this film because everyone can see it. It is currently, here we go. Bye Bye Barry is a documentary about one of the greatest running backs in NFL history, Barry Sanders, who played on the Detroit Lions in the late 80s, early 90s. He was a hero of mine because I am a Detroit Lions fan. And why I grew up in Detroit. Detroit is a very blue collar working town. And you know, they're the hometown heroes for me. And I watched the Detroit Lions when I was a kid. I have so many fond memories of watching the Detroit Lions with my dad, watching games on television. Also, when I moved to California, after every Lions game, my dad and I would talk on the phone. I feel that one of the things that, you know, men may not be great about talking about their feelings, but they'll talk about sports and their feelings. And I almost feel like in some subconscious way, men communicate through sports. Like that's a way that men can communicate is through their love or loathing of sports. And this is the story of Barry Sanders, who had this illustrious career, but never got to the big game. Got very close. In the early 90s, I would watch Barry Sanders, and my God, when you watched him play, it was like his legs were made of rubber. And he would do this thing where there would be a defensive person right in front of him, and he would just pivot and go this way, so that person would end up tackling air. It's an archival documentary that's supplemented by new footage. So you've got archival documentary footage of when Barry was drafted by the Detroit Lions, when he won the Heisman Trophy, when he broke the 2,000 yards in a year rushing record. So it's all of this archival footage of Detroit from that time, supplemented by new interviews with Barry Sanders and his family and his relationship with his father. So many things I didn't know about Barry Sanders. One thing everybody knows about Barry Sanders, whether you're a fan or not, is how humble he was. You know, we live at a time now where sports figures are, you know, in these rock star positions, spouting opinions that are, you know, maybe not super uniting or helpful. Barry Sanders, as a player and the Detroit Lions at that time as a team, united the city of Detroit. And even though I moved to, you know, the West Coast in 1989, I always watched the Detroit Lions. And it was a way for me to talk and relate to my father. My father passed away in 2012, not a great year for me. And I miss those conversations between my father and I. So to me, watching the Detroit Lions reminds me of my relationship with my dad. If the Detroit Lions, which are on a good run this year, if they make it to the Super Bowl, I'm going to the Super Bowl. If the Detroit Lions ever get into a Super Bowl, I am going to the Super Bowl. I'm at least going to be there. I don't know. It's a bucket list item for me is to go to a Super Bowl. If the Lions make it in, I'm going to go there as a tribute to my dad. I'll just say this. I know I may be speaking personally and from the heart on this, but it's an excellent documentary. I'm the type of guy that, like, okay, and I know this is weird because many of you know me as a nerd. Oh, Gore, he's such a nerd. He's into Star Wars. You're always talking about Star Wars and Star Trek and nerd stuff. Yes, I get it. I am also a sports fan. And what I miss about it, which this movie reminds me of, is how many great lessons come from sports. Barry Sanders, via the Detroit Lions and that team at that time, united the city of Detroit. And what's amazing, the lessons we get from sports and also from our U.S. military is that we can come from all walks of life, all levels, economic levels, rich, poor, whatever. And we can come together and work towards a common goal. People who look very different can work towards a common goal. We have somehow forgotten these lessons. This movie reminded me of that. It brought back that feeling I had. And, you know, I used to buy, they would do this every year, right? Like for every team and every year they do this, NFL films. I'm a huge fan of NFL films, to the point where I've actually bought the soundtrack for NFL films. You know, the frozen tundra, and you hear that announcer's voice. NFL films changed. Steve Sable and that whole team, I know who they are. I know the behind the scenes. They changed the way that we see the game when they showed things in slow motion. Watching Barry Sanders in slow motion is like watching ballet on the field. It's insane. No one moved like him. It was crazy. But I would always buy those VHS cassettes of 1994 Detroit Lions. It was a tough season. And it's like a 30 or it's like an under hour little mini documentary about that season. And I would buy those every year. I loved it. This is a great documentary that imparts lessons. And Barry Sanders, he's the one that there's a term that you heard. Jeff Daniels is actually in the documentary. So they interviewed Jeff Daniels, who is also probably the most famous person in Michigan, the actor Jeff Daniels from Dumb and Dumber and many other things. He's a huge Detroit Lions fan. And it's Barry Sanders, really the term, when he would get into the end zone and score a touchdown, he would just hand the football to the ref. And what you say is you act like you've been there. He's not doing, you never saw Barry Sanders ever do like a touchdown dance or whatever, or ever taunt the other team by celebrating. He got in the end zone. He handed off the ball. He did his job. Such a humble man, and really an icon in the NFL. And also just a reminder of some of the great lessons you can learn from sports, whether you're a sports fan or not. Sports and sports movies, for that matter, teach us lessons. And this I just thought it was fantastic. It's one of the best sports documentaries I've seen, and I can't remember when. It's currently on Amazon Prime. 9 out of 10 for me. Whether you're a Detroit Lions fan or not, you've got to recognize Barry Sanders as a player.
You sound very biased in this review.
I am very biased because I'm a Detroit
incredibly
Lions
biased
fan.
in this review.
But anyways, strong recommendation. We've got our guests are here, but let's go to your chat comments and questions real quick. 1-starred comment here from Two Penny Puppet for $4.99. Guys, it sounds like you're describing that Gucci movie from 2 years ago with Adam Driver and Lady Gaga. Meanwhile, Monty Python this weekend. That's right. Monty Python and the Holy Grail is playing this weekend.
Is it? Oh,
yes.
okay.
Yes. And Sanders will always be one of the greats, says Bobby's World. Thank you. Spoken like a Lions fan.
Yeah.
Says Jim BLA. Look, I've got the.
I'm trying. I don't know that I got a good impression as to whether this documentary was good or not.
Yeah, I'll just say this: even if you're not a Lions fan, it's a beautiful story. Barry Sanders also, what the documentary does is it tells you his personal story. He just left the game. No fanfare, no big retirement press conference. He sent in a fax and said, I'm retiring from the Detroit Lions. So just a sports hero to be admired and a man from a different era. Dennis Wright, who's a member, says, Barry Sanders is incredible and I hate the Lions. See, a lot of people feel that way, and that's perfectly fair point. But thank you. I mean, look, I'm a big fan. You know, I think we all love our teams, but Barry Sanders, whether you're a Lions fan or not, great player. And spoken like a Lions fan. There you go. All right, we're going to pivot. We have some special guests who are joining us. I'm very happy that they're here. Let's get right to it. Oh, wow. Thank you, Alan. The Wild Parrots of Telegraph Hill is a documentary about wild parrots. Now, why do I want to talk to filmmaker Judy Irving and the subject of this documentary, Mark Bittner? I'll tell you exactly why. Because I live in Pasadena, California. And guess what we have? Wild parrots. There's some parrots that actually escaped from an aviary in the Pasadena area. And to this day, they are all over Pasadena. When anyone ever comes to visit Pasadena, California, where I live, and you hear the weirdest bird noises you've ever heard, these caulking, they caulk, like these crazy sounds from these birds. It's all from these wild parrots. Well, this documentary is playing in limited release in theaters. Filmmaker Judy Irving is here, along with one of the subjects of the film, Mark Bittner. Welcome to the show, Judy and Mark. I'm Chris. This is Alan. Thank you for joining us on the Film Threat Livecast.
Thank you.
Glad to be here.
Tell us about this documentary. I was fascinated because I see these birds flying around Pasadena, and I always have to explain when someone will hear some crazy noises. First of all, how did these wild parrots become to be wild? And what made you, Judy, want to make a documentary about this?
Well, Mark, why don't you answer the one about the why are they wild, and then I'll get the rest.
Well, it used to be legal to import wild-caught birds out of the, the wilds of South America, Central America, and import them here to be sold as pets. And people were buying wild parrots, and they bite and they scream. And so I think in a lot of cases, people release them just to get rid of them. And in other cases, they escape. The flock that you're talking about, I've seen that flock. It's known as the San Gabriel Valley flock, and there's thousands of them. Wow. They're red-crowned Amazons for the most part. And actually, I think they're from Mexico, yeah. And they're endangered where they live, but they're flourishing where you live.
Wow. Well, I will say this: they're in no danger here in Pasadena. Yeah. They're everywhere, and they seem to be doing well. Judy, how did you come to this topic for a documentary?
Well, I had been making a couple of short films about birds, and a couple of friends told me, hey, you should make a movie about this guy who feeds the parrots on Telegraph Hill. So I did. I went over there and I saw Mark, and I saw these fabulous red and green, squawky, wild, crazy parrots. I thought, yeah, this might work, So 4.5 years later, I had a movie, and it's having its re-release right now in Los Angeles. It's going to be at the NoHo tonight. I'm going to do Q&A. And then tomorrow night at the Royal, I'll be there to do Q&A as well. And then over the weekend on Saturday and Sunday at the Glendale. It's re-release. The reason for the re-release is because we did a 4K ultra high definition restoration. So the film has been remastered. It's its 20th anniversary. The parrots flying back into theaters 20 years later. It's fantastic.
Yeah. Mark, what made you obsessed with these birds?
Well, I was just fascinated to see wild parrots in San Francisco. It didn't make any sense. And the strangest part of it was that they did fascinate me, and without my trying to, I kept getting closer to them by where I was living. And I'd put out some bird seed to feed some native birds. I just did that for the hell of it. And it ended up attracting the parrots, which shocked me. And I was fascinated by them, so I just started paying attention to them every day. I would feed them. They gradually got used to my presence. And after about 6 months, they started eating out of my hand. And I started learning all the individuals and learning how their community works.
Is this kind of a normal thing for like certain types of, because I feel like we're seeing cases in some, no, but this is what I mean. In some cities, we're seeing like wild animals that don't normally venture where humans live. They're kind of coming from the wild. I used to live in an area where you'd see a mountain lion at least a couple times a year. So
we have coyotes here.
Yeah, coyotes. When I lived in Los Feliz, you did not want any small dogs or cats to go out at night because there would be packs of the wild coyotes that would come, and suddenly you didn't have a pet. So it happens.
The thing is, they are fascinating looking, and they have a lot of personality. And you start to learn that they have individual personalities, and so the story just kept getting more and more interesting to me, and that drew me in.
And so I guess my question is more like, are there other types of wildlife that are venturing to where humans traditionally reside and kind of, I don't mean invading our spaces. I mean, whose space is it, right? Like it's the skies. But like, is that a thing that happens often? And how do you maintain like the ecosystem so they can survive?
Judy?
Well, yeah, in San Francisco, we have coyotes, we have raccoons, we have the wild parrots, we have the occasional other wild animal. And we have to remember that they were here first in a way. I mean, San Francisco is its own urban landscape, but we came here and we built this city, and the animals are basically just coming back in. And what's neat about the coyotes is that they understand, I think, that they're safe in an urban area. Out in the boondocks, they would get shot at, but nobody messes with them in San Francisco, you know? So they're very comfortable here, and we have to learn how to get along with them rather than trying to think about exterminating them.
We've got some questions from our chat. We've got over 800 people watching us live. Question from Solomon Thornton says, greetings, Sir Judy and Sir Mark. What is your process for doing a documentary?
Well, I love documentaries that are unfolding in the present. I don't like to make movies about historical topics that time has put a stop to. In other words, when I caught up with Mark, he was in the midst of getting to know this flock. He already knew them quite well. He had names for them. He could describe their personalities. And I realized if I could get footage to go with the stories that he tells about these birds, that would make a really interesting film. And in some ways, we were like 20 years ahead of my octopus teacher, because the wild parrots taught Mark about consciousness. They taught him about death. They taught him about all kinds of aspects of existence that you wouldn't expect. And so the film took turns and evolved thematically in ways that I never expected would happen when I started it. And that's what I love about the documentary process. And Mark, I'm going to hand it over to you now, because Mark was a fantastic subject. He did not change in front of the camera. He didn't get self-conscious or anything. And so how was it to have a movie made about you, Mark?
Yeah.
Well, to me, it was an art project, and I like art projects, so I was willing to get into it and to do the best I could. You know, the parrots also, by the way, are the official animal of San Francisco now.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, we beat the sea lions of Pier 39.
Well, tell us, how can people get more information about the movie?
Well, you can go to the Lemley website and find out about the screenings tonight and tomorrow night at the NoHo and the Royal. They're at 7:30. And then over the weekend starts a 1-week run at the Glendale, and that show is at 5:20. But you can also go to my nonprofit's website, pelicanmedia.org. And Mark has a Facebook page, right, Mark?
Wild Parrots of Telegraph Hill.
Right. Yeah. And markbittner.net is his own page. So there's all kinds of ways that you can find out about the flock.
Oh, well, I'm going to share screen. I found your website right here. It's named Pelican Media. There you are. That's amazing. And yeah. one last question for Judy. Did you become a filmmaker to tackle? Were you a filmmaker before, or did you become a filmmaker when you discovered the topic?
I have been making films since 1973. So
wow.
Yeah. So I went to Stanford Film School. I had been making documentaries. I had been kind of in the trenches. None of them had done very well, although they were all worthy. And we had a sudden and welcome and unexpected hit with Wild Parrots of Telegraph Hill when it first came out in 2005. It was out in 500 theaters, and it grossed $3.5 million. So this was by far my most successful film.
Can I ask you how the 4K restoration came about?
Yeah, I didn't want the film to fall through the cracks because the streaming platforms were starting to drop standard definition movies. And this one was shot on 16 millimeter and then blown up to 35. So we were one of those films that was going to fall into oblivion if I didn't do something. So thanks to the Academy Film Archive for donating the 4K scan, we were able to restore that photographic scan of 119,500 frames and re-release the film starting tonight in Los Angeles.
Congratulations, Judy and Mark, on the film. Go to pelicanmedia.org to check it out and go to one of the screenings this weekend because Judy's in town.
Yep.
And we'll be at some of the screenings. So I'm sure you're going to have some Pasadena residents. They're going to say, I hear these birds all the time in my neighborhood. And that's true. I hear them outside my window I actually find it kind of soothing, to be honest.
Do you really? That's good.
I gave a book reading at the South Pasadena Library, and it turned out that thousands of them roosted in the trees right outside the building.
That's crazy.
That was sort of my welcome.
Oh, that's awesome. Judy and Mark, thank you so much for being on the show. Have a great weekend. Take care.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yeah, that
was awesome.
Yeah, I just never thought that we can start losing films because they're not.
There's a whole what they call cine orphans.
Mhm.
Okay. Cine orphans are movies that have no distribution. A lot of times what will happen with independent filmmakers is the rights revert back to the filmmakers. And then,
what do you do with it?
By the way, that's happened to me. I did an independent film that was released in 2005 called My Big Fat Independent Movie. And I am going to re-release it next year on Blu-ray. It's going to be out on digital and Blu-ray. It's a comedy that was directed by Phil Zlotarinsky. I produced it and co-wrote it with a couple comedy writers. So that movie will be in a special edition. We shot it in 2K. I don't know that we can do a 4K restoration. We're going to do the best that we can. But that's going to be happening.
And Bob Odenkirk's in it?
Bob Odenkirk is in the movie. Paget Brewster, Clint Howard. I'm I'm not going to tell you it's the greatest movie ever, but it's super fun. And you'll be able to, the Blu-ray is going to be packed. Nobody does a Blu-ray like me. By the way, the Blu-ray of Attack of the Doc, if you use the offer code FilmThreat-HO on the Film Threat shop, you'll save 10%. So there you go. Just go to shop.filmthreat.com. You can get the shirt that I'm wearing today. Alan, you can get this shirt that I'm wearing today. And we have so many new designs. This is one I really want. It's the Godfather logo. I really want that one. Film Threat in the Godfather font. So there you go. Or this one. There you go. The Film Threat. What? Or this one. Come on.
Oh, there you go. Oh, that's a nice one.
So there's a lot of good ones here. But go to shop.filmthreat.com. Save 10% using offer code FilmThreat-HO. That's gonna look. We almost got to everything today. Yeah.
I'm glad we're saving poor choices to Friday. That's all.
You mean poor things?
Poor things.
All right. We'll redo it. But I want to say thank you to everyone watching. Oh my gosh. We've already got some super chats here. Let's get to those. I'm so sorry I didn't see those. My apologies. Rudy for 2 says, going to award this, looking forward to it. You're going to have a blast. Rudy, come and say hi. We're going to be doing selfies and pictures. Get there at 6 o'clock. The show starts at 8, but the festivities start at 6, just to remind people. So thank you, Rudy. Appreciate that. Haunted One, who's become a YouTube member. That's great. Thank you. Red and Vadered. Oh no. What does that mean? I feel like I know what that means. For 5, still best sports debate topic today. What if Barry had Emmett's O-line, offensive line? Go Cowboys. That's right. They were beat by the Cowboys in the playoffs. They got close. Didn't happen. So the problem is Barry was a great player who needed help. No one on us. That's the lesson from sports, right? And that's the lesson with making a movie. Filmmaking is a team sport. That's a lesson with Film Threat. I mean, I know you see the faces of Alan and I, but there's so many people behind the scenes. There's our producer, Glenn. There's Ms. P. Coffee, moderator. There's other mods, Lord Thoth, Chicago Box, Latino Slant. Want to shout out to them. Any big project is a team. no one person makes a movie. No one person. I mean, unless you're an author of a book that's kind of a solitary thing, you're writing a book, you're writing the book. But a good lesson is, how do you function within a team? And I think that dividing people, or any way that you would divide people or make them live in fear because of their personal views, is not a good work environment. I would describe that as a hostile work environment. And we're going to get into that. Disney's hostile work environment. We'll talk about that on Friday. And because we're going to continue that topic. And Alan's going to write the story. Do you feel? I kind of put you on the spot.
Yeah,
Alan.
I mean, I can do it.
Thank you, Red Invader.
Yeah,
Are you
just
okay
gotta
with that?
Yeah, I'm okay, because I think I've thought about this a lot, and so I just now got to figure out how to structure it into an interesting article.
There needs to be a case that there's a hostile work environment. You can't just become the bully after if you feel you've been bullied. Okay. Sometimes you got to let it go. Do you want progress, or do you want revenge? And from what we've been hearing, it feels like one side wants revenge.
Well, I say it all the time. When I was growing up, it was all about equality, equality of opportunity. And now that we have it, which is an inflammatory statement amongst itself, it just feels like it's revenge now.
Does anybody feel that they would not get hired based on their looks these days?
Well, I'd say if you're a white male, yeah. Especially in Hollywood. I would say in Hollywood.
What I've heard is that they're hiring. We used to live in a meritocracy, and we need to bring some of that back. You can only go so far where you've gone too far. We'll discuss this more, because we're in ongoing discussions with people. But I'll just say, they'll, at the end of this, I can't promise when, because it's really based on Alan's schedule. And Alan and I, for the next 2 weeks, are slammed.
Yeah.
I mean, I am doing something every night. I'm hanging out with Alan tomorrow.
And most of the weekend. I think we're going to be together from tomorrow to Sunday, actually.
It's going to be like a buddy cop movie, except both of us are too old for this shit.
Oh my gosh, you have no idea.
Oh my God. All right. Find some final super chats came in. And let's do Declan Lyons for €10. How can I eventually watch this documentary in Ireland? Go to the, what was the website? I just said pelicanmedia.org, and you'll be able to get it on VOD. There's a store, pelicanmedia.org. I'll post it in the chat.
Yeah, AD Ellis on Rumble says that it's available on the public library streaming service Canopy. So if you're
there, you
familiar
go.
with Canopy,
So Declan, yeah, I mean, one of the things. Look, we could sit here and talk about modern franchises getting destroyed. That we live in a clown world. That we're going to be watching World War III on our phones. You could go into a dark place if you think about a lot of what's happening in the world right now. I choose to not go to that dark place. I choose optimism. And I also choose that if this isn't very good, you have lots of other choices. If the Disney movie is not great, you can see, well, according to Alan, you can see Trolls. According to me, go see The Boy and the Heron. But Wish, cannot recommend it. I saw it last night. I saw it last night because I really wanted to watch it and be able to talk about it. And it lived up to your negative hype, Alan. But yeah, so that's always what Film Threat's about, is like, I feel like I can only take so much of, like, we're complaining. This is great. This is great. Or these are other choices. If you have a balanced media diet that includes indie movies, that includes a sports documentary called Bye Bye Barry, then I feel like it lessens the blow when you realize all the different franchises that have been destroyed. Thank you, Declan. We appreciate that. Lord Metroid for 2, who's a member, saw the Tetris film. Amazing.
I haven't seen it yet.
That's the one that's on Apple Plus. Yeah, it's really good. It's like a crime thriller. It's not even, yes, it's about a video game, but it's like a crime thriller mixed with a video game. And then the way it tells the story is very video game inspired. Very good film. Very good film. Thank you, Lord Metroid. And Zodlander says, for 50 Swedish krona, Mighty Ducks and Slapshot and Ruby. I can love sports films, but they need to entangle me in the characters. More, please. We'll watch first goal wins or next goal wins as soon as possible.
Yeah, we talked about this one a lot, but Breaking Away is a great sports.
Breaking Away is one of my favorite sports movies of all time.
I've seen that movie so many times.
I have it on video on demand. Trolls 3 was very good, says the writers and editors of Napoleon should be sacked.
So Trolls 3 was better than Napoleon.
First of all, I can't believe that name was available, but you got that name. Thank you. Thank you for your comment. No, I heard Trolls 3 is good. I'm not rushing to the theaters. There's other things. I saw, maybe we'll have time to talk about it on Friday. I saw The Iron Claw.
Oh, man, I'm so jealous.
Alan.
I'm trying to see it next week.
Yeah. Oh, shoot. It says codes for The Fugitive are not working. It's cropped on the left side of the screenshot. You have to click on the screenshot.
Yeah, click the screenshot and it'll open up.
Click the screenshot and the picture will open.
Which means it's probably taken by now.
Taken by now, but first of all, thank you for saying that. But I try to be careful when I post those. Let me see. Did it post? Yeah, you have to actually click on the screen. If you click on the screenshot, it does work.
It's saying that if you see it on your phone, you can see the whole thing. I just transpose the
I'm
code
sorry. No, but you have to actually. I'm so sorry. Try it on your phone. There's like how many codes here? 6 codes. Yeah, I'll be mindful of that in the future. Yeah, if you're a member of the channel, digital codes, and I think we have more to give away, at least in the next week. I love giveaways. I love to give things away. All right. And a reminder, I'll see you at LA Comicon this weekend. Go to comiconla.com. 35er bar tomorrow night, 8 p.m. in Pasadena, California. That's my haunt. Be nice to the bartenders and the doorman there. I know everybody there. I know the owners of that bar. If we get enough people, there is a second bar in the basement, and I'm sure they'll open that up for us. But
have they been
there
warned?
tomorrow night? Alan, anything else? We're busy.
Yeah, I mean everything you just said you're doing, I'm there too. So
cool. All right. Hey, I just want to say thank you.
I believe I'm on 2 panels. Is that right? Because I heard you kicked Anna off.
I'd like to get you on our 3rd panel if you're around.
I mean, I'll be around. I don't know that I'll be much help, but
what do you mean you'll not be much help?
Yeah, I mean, I could speak as an audience member to indie filmmakers.
You have a lot of insight.
Okay, I'm most
a lot
likely
of insight.
All right,
what are you even doubting it for?
I know. I'm saying you kicked. Anna says you kicked her off one of the panels, and
no, I didn't.
Because she was supposed to be. She said you put her on 1, and she thought she was on 2.
No, I'll put her on 2.
All right, let her know.
All right, I gotta let Anna know.
Yeah,
I'll text her. All right, hey.
She only thinks she's on Saturdays.
No, she's on Sundays.
Okay. All right.
All right. That wraps it up for us. I want to thank you. We are growing. Hopefully, in the next couple weeks, we'll reach 100,000. Could happen sooner rather than later. But I appreciate you and also our live streams. We're getting a larger and larger audience. We appreciate it. I mean, Alan and I don't know. You're just going to get sort of the unvarnished truth as we see it. But as you all know, your reaction to a movie or TV show is unique. So that's where Alan and I think lately we've disagreed more than agreed. It is what it is.
Yeah, I think disagree more than usual. But I mean, this has always been the case.
Yeah. All right. Well, look, season screenings for everybody from your pals at Film Threat. We'll see you on Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific time. Lots of reviews. It's going to be fun. And Alan, any final thoughts?
Yeah, let's get out of here.